As the International Monetary Fund and World Bank Group spring meetings continue, the topic of unfinished business is high on the agenda for Nigeria's high-level leaders present at the meetings. Earlier this week, the World Bank Group President, David Malpass, had urged Nigeria to end its multiple exchange rate system and instead focus on a single market-based exchange rate. In response, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria insists a one-size-fits-all solution is not in line with the current situation in Nigeria.
Let me say that Nigeria is on a managed float. What that also means is that we cannot adopt what is being proposed, that we go on a free float of day currency. Doing that will create an exchange rate spiral for Nigeria as long as the demand surpasses the supply of foreign exchange in Nigeria. We have been at this since 1986, and that's why we're saying that whereas we are also doing something to adjust the currency, like for instance between 2015 and now, you would observe that we have adjusted the currency from about 155 to about 410, 420 that it is today. So we cannot be accused of not adjusting the currency. But that we are trying to adopt a very gradual approach towards adjusting the price to the level that it is today. But at the same time, we have to be given the chance to also look at why you are adjusting price. You must also do something about demand and supply. And that is the reason we're saying that we need to do something on demand to make sure that those things that we can produce as a country will restrict access to foreign exchange for them, so that will encourage people to produce locally.
We have not opted out of the global tax deal.
The World Bank this week also called again on Nigeria to rethink its position on fuel subsidies. Nigerian Finance Minister Zainab Ahmed showed a level of optimism for the future of Nigeria in this regard.
We now have the opportunity to manufacture as well as export petrochemical products, not only to be used domestically but export within the region. And it's very good that we have already made a lot of progress in food production, in production of fertilizer and urea. As we speak today, we have exports of urea and fertilizer from the Dangote refinery as well as from Indorama. We have had to take more debts than we had planned to during the COVID, and it is good that we're able to do that because we're able to now stabilize the economy and mitigate the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and the crash in the crude oil price in the Nigerian economy. We have debt levels that are very much within manageable limits. What we have is a revenue problem, and the Minister of Finance and other related ministries are working very hard to continuously increase our revenue.
U.S. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell signaled a half-point rate hike is in the cards soon to combat inflation at the IMF, a move that's not welcomed by developing countries trying to tackle their own debt profiles.
In reality, one of the things you said to us at the beginning of the pandemic was that you needed us to spend the money but keep the receipts. And we did, in fact, keep the receipts. So it should be easy to identify COVID-specific debt. It should even be easy to identify climate-related debt. But what we need to do, because of our highly indebted situation already, is to put this on another international balance sheet. You can perhaps have a pandemic trust and you can have a climate adaptation trust. But the reality is that what we need is to be able to move it off of our balance sheet.
Friday's meetings are also macroeconomic in nature. Conversations are also going to include those on inflation and the role it plays in an increasingly fragile global economy. And then, once again, there will be conversations on subsidies and how they can both be a blessing and a curse to international trade and development. Adefemi Akinsanya, Arise News, Washington, D.C.